So to start the install, we're going to go ahead and remove these two trim pieces to reveal the two bolts that are going to be behind them. It'll allow us to remove this whole lower center console so we can take it upstairs and actually install the insert mount. So to remove this trim piece, grab the bottom, then grab the top part, and then just start pulling it straight out. It's only being held on my clips, so you don't need to worry. Go ahead and do the other side. Just like that. Now that the bolts are revealed, if you do have my magnetic cubby drawers, go ahead and remove those just to keep them safe and out of the way. Next, we're going to remove the center portion. It's only being held on by clips and it's all one piece, but there is a wire right back here, so be careful when you pull it out. Here's that wire right there. And to remove the cable from this whole assembly, go ahead and unplug it here. And there is a kind of tab right there. Just go ahead and take a plastic pry tool, press down one of the tabs, and then just pull it right on through. It'll come loose like that. Place this somewhere safe. Next up, go ahead and grab a 10mm socket to remove these two bolts as well. You will need to keep these bolts because we will be using them later to reinstall the lower center console. Now we're going to need that plastic pry tool again, and unfortunately you will not be able to just straight pull out this lower center console because it's actually clipped in at the bottom part here. You'll need to take this pry tool and go right underneath this center console down here and pry it up. They're just held on by clips, so it's pretty easy. Just gently pull up all around like that. And what you're looking for is this bottom piece right here. It's actually held on by one clip in the center here. Just pry it up on the inside, it'll pop right out. And there we go. This is the one tab that was locking it in place, and these two actually go into the two holes that are in the center console. Now that it's basically free, we can just go ahead and pull the tabs out very easily. There are two tabs up here and two tabs on the bottom, and this pull it straight up. The only thing left you need to do now is disconnect these two wires back here, and you're all free. Then we take this upstairs. Now that we have the lower center console out, I went ahead and removed the USB and power ports so you don't have to worry about damaging them during the installation process, as we will be drilling this portion up here. For this install guide, I'll be showing you how to install the SP9100 and the AuxBeam 8. Please note that these two have the same installation process. So if you are installing an RCR-Force 12, just follow the same thing that I do with the SP9100. If you are installing an AuxBeam 6 controller, follow along what I do with the AuxBeam 8. This is what will come in the SP9100 insert mount kit. The insert mount itself, the drill guide with the corresponding label S8 indicating that this is for a Switch Pro with 8 switches. You'll also get a resin printed QR tag which will bring you to this video for the installation process. You'll also get two baggies with hardware in it, one with an Allen key and two bolts for the threaded inserts, as well as 3 nuts and 3 washers for actually mounting the SP9100 to the insert mount itself. The only difference between the SP9100 install and the RCR-Force 12 is how you actually mount the control panel to the insert mount. The SP9100 has a bolt going on top, while the RCR-Force 12 has a bolt going on the other side. Most of the hardware is already provided, but you will need these additional things. One will be a 7/8 inch spade bit, another will be a 1/4 inch drill bit, and for the SP9100 and also RCR-Force 12, a M8 deep socket. Now let's go and install the drill guide for the SP9100. It's pretty easy. Go ahead and slide it right over the top cubby. You're going to want to put your hand right in front of this area here. They may require a substantial amount of force in order to ensure that there is no gap between that back portion right there. Keep pressing down all the way like that, and eventually it will stop moving forward. That means that it has made full contact and the holes are in the proper alignment. Once you've made the 7/8 inch hole as well as the 2 1/4 inch holes, you're ready to actually install the insert mount to the center console. You'll need to first find the hardware for it, which will be found in the baggie containing the 1/8 inch Allen key and 2 bolts. To secure the SB9100 to the insert mount, go ahead and locate the baggie that contains 3 lock nuts and 3 washers. Go ahead and take your SB9100 and check to make sure that only 3 of the threads are being used. The last one won't be used as there is not a 4th hole in the insert mount. Locate the center channel and guide the wire through, align everything, and it should pop right in place just like that. Locate the washers and the actual lock nut. Take the washers, place them on each one of the threads, and then using an M8 deep socket, ratchet all the nuts down to be just finger tight. You don't need to over torque it. It could end up damaging the insert mount if you over torque it too much. But before we install the insert mounts, let's go ahead and remove the drill guide. Now guide the wire from the insert mount into the 7/8 inch hole back there, like that. Go ahead and press all the way in and ensure that it's through like that. Now that it's here, let's go ahead and get these 2 bolts using the Allen key and go ahead and tighten everything down. When torquing the actual mounting screws down, you don't have to go crazy with torquing them down, just make them finger tight. Check them a few times, and with that, the SB9100 is now fully installed. For the AuxBeam 6 and 8 kit, you'll be getting the insert mount itself, the corresponding AuxBeam drill guide, the QR code, which will bring you to the video, as well as the 1/8 inch Allen key with 2 mounting bolts. And also, unlike the other Switch Pro inserts, this one also has an M2 Allen key with 2 screws and washers, so you can secure the AuxBeam to the insert mount itself. To secure the AuxBeam to the insert mount, go ahead and grab the AuxBeam, take the wired end, push it through the center channel. Ensure that the AuxBeam is facing the side that actually has the brass insert on top. Orientation does matter. Slide it right into it, and it should be like that. Go ahead and find the 2 screws. The shorter screw will go on this side and the longer screw will go on this side. The washers should already be installed on these screws, and then you'll take the M2 Allen key and tighten them down to finger tightness. Now take the AuxBeam 8 drill guide and go ahead and install it just like before on the center console. I do want to stress that you have to make sure you have the right guide. As you can see here, there are 2 different holes based on which guide that you use. So if you have the wrong guide, you will drill the wrong hole. With the 7/8 inch hole and the 2 1/4 inch holes drilled, let's go ahead and guide that wire from the AuxBeam 8 through the opening and get this thing mounted. You may have to pull it through because the label may get in the way. Now to get the mounting hardware, find the baggie with the 1/8 inch Allen key and 2 large bolts. Remember, you only need the bolts to be finger tight. You don't need to go too crazy with them. And with that, the AuxBeam 8 has been installed. The AuxBeam 6 pretty much is installed the same way as well. Due to the size of these controllers, the original magnetic cubby drawers down here will no longer work due to clearance issues. However, there is a variant which I just made that basically cuts everything down and allows for clearance with all of them. My SB9100 still works with the original magnetic cubby drawers, so if you have any of the other ones, you're going to need this new variant. And this concludes the install guide for our insert mounts. Reinstalling the lower center console will be as simple as reversing what we did to remove it, but I do recommend leaving the top portion open so that you can finish the wiring for your controller.